Marhaba and welcome to the Habibis, three game developers drinking good Arab tea. I'm your host for today, Fawzi Mesmar.
And I'm your co-host, Rami Ismail.
And so, funny thing happened, which is why Osama, which is why Osama couldn't make it today. Uh, like I swear, every year, daylight daylight saving hour change happens, and some incidents happened because of it.
I promise we were all exactly on time. It's just Osama's time is no longer the same time as our time.
I just didn't realize that they didn't like it's daylight saving is not unanimous across the world.
Some
Of
countries
course
don't
it's
even
not.
do it, right? Like some countries just don't have daylight savings, and then some countries do it on one day, and then some countries do it on another day, and it's just wild,
And Canada does it, right?
right?
But I don't know when.
Not yet. I think in like 2 weeks or something.
Okay. So in 2 weeks he'll be able. Yeah.
In two
Wow.
weeks, everything will work out again.
In 2 weeks.
Inshallah.
Uh, it's
Inshallah.
it's Sunday, November 6th.
Yeah.
So yeah. By the time this out, it'll be soon.
Yeah, almost.
Almost.
Yeah, it's wild. You know, the sort of like the disagreement about time makes for such fascinating stories, you know that? A lot
Yeah.
of weird stories. There's like places on Earth that are officially 1 second off. And there's
Okay.
countries that are like on a 15 or 30-minute time zone.
Wow.
So they're not on an hour, they're like half an hour or 30 minutes or 15 minutes off from time zones. And then they're like weird historical, like war reasons and conquest reasons and territorial reasons that, you know, in code, we just represent time as an amount of like time passed since January 1st, 1970.
Yep.
And we just agreed on that. And then when you think about it, even that is not agreed because what time midnight was January 1st, 1970, we agreed that it's Greenwich, right? UTC.
Yeah.
From that moment on, we've just been counting, and that's what time it is. Because every other way that we colloquially use time is just a mess. Have you ever noticed how some countries, when they say 9:30, they mean
Yeah.
9:30,
Yeah. Yes.
and then some cultures, when they say 9:30, they mean 8:30?
Yes. That always confused me.
Because some countries mean like 9:30, they mean like, well, half of something is smaller than it. So 9:30 should be 8:30. And some countries say 9:30, you're saying 9:30.
That's so funny.
So
Yeah, it's as usual. We can't seem to agree on a thing, so there's lots of versions of that thing, and good
Right.
luck. It's kind of like the power plugs, like
Right.
around the world. We couldn't agree on the power plugs, so now we have all these power plugs.
Right. Now we have all these converters. No,
You know,
I don't know. Like it fascinates me, especially with time. It fascinates me because it used to be obviously very long ago. Every town kept its own time.
yeah.
That was the time.
Wow.
And you could go between two towns, and it will be a different time.
I mean, it would make sense because people used to use sunrise and sunset, I
Right.
guess, to time
Mhm.
everything.
Yep.
And that's very different depending on where you are.
And
Some
very
places,
logical.
yeah, some places don't have sunrise and sunsets at all. I don't mean anywhere in particular.
No, yeah. No, see, I don't know. I love that, but I also love that we are 2022, and we can still have things like this happening where we all just agree on a time, and then just Osama
It's,
was an hour early.
it's so funny, man. Like on Sunday night, I went to bed and I was like, okay, while I'm sleeping tonight, the clock is gonna change, but I don't have any analog watches or clocks anymore.
Right.
All of them are connected to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I wake up, I don't have to do anything.
Right.
and everything is gonna work. My calendar is gonna auto update. Everything's gonna update. This is going to be the year in which there's gonna be no
No.
ramifications whatsoever. We have a calendar invite in our calendar. It
Right.
should be okay, and it did work correctly for both of us, but not
Right.
for us.
No. No. Yeah. It's so funny because I guess in Osama's calendar that switched when our time zone switched.
Yeah, yeah,
And in our time calendar, it didn't. It just stayed where it was.
yeah.
Um,
That's a
no,
feature we should probably email Google about. It's like you
yeah,
need to also account for discrepancy in daylight saving across time
right.
zones.
I'm
Good
sure they
luck.
do, but like, yeah, probably not in the way we expected. You know
Yeah.
what was really good about the switch of daylight savings?
What?
It happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
So on Sunday, when it was 3 a.m., it became 2 a.m.
Yes.
It was 3 a.m. on my birthday.
Uh huh.
So then it was 2 a.m. on my birthday.
You got an extra hour of Habibi birthday.
Got
Happy
an extra
birthday!
hours to shotgun, shotgun. It was good. It was my birthday. I turned 34.
34.
34.
34 is a good one.
It's feeling pretty good so far.
For me, like 34 felt like the last young year.
You know what? I did not want to know that.
Because as you hit 35, you're like, oh, now I can see the 40s. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
halfway.
yeah, yeah. I know that. I sort of, I understand that, but um, I don't know. Like when I turned 33, I actually was not in a great. I was not in the greatest place. Had a bit
Mm,
of a rough year. And
mm.
then I think my only wish for 34 was to be in a better place. And, alhamdulillah, like it's been a phenomenal year.
That's so nice,
Uh,
man. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
last year it was a bit tough around
Yeah,
this time.
it was a rough year. And then
Yeah,
everything kind of like, the flying happened. I'm really happy with what I'm doing for work, with all the consultancy and like sort of setting up future plans. And
yeah. Life
um,
went back to normal since then, like
yeah, I'm traveling again. I'm going to Bremen for like an afternoon tomorrow. And
nice.
I have South Africa and South America. I have like all sorts of things on my calendar.
Super.
So yeah, really exciting. Birthday was really nice, just with like family and my partner was here and some friends were there. It's got all
Nice.
sorts of gifts.
Ah,
Um,
what gifts did you get?
oh, my favorite. So my favorite was one of my friends, one of my closest friends, was had basically organized the gift, and my friends had thus bought me the Lego pyramid,
Oh, nice.
which is a beautiful gift. The only problem is I already have that one.
I was about to say, how did they know that you don't have it? That's the
Right,
tricky part. How do you buy Rami a gift?
right. So I have it. So
Ah, of course you do.
when two of my friends were leaving, they were like, "Oh, we're really sorry. Like, like we bought that, and like, the other friend that didn't that wasn't the friend that couldn't show up, he has the gift. So, someday in the future when he shows up, like maybe I don't know, maybe you can sell the old one, or maybe there's something like." And I'm like, this is half the pyramid, right?
Yeah.
It's a unique thing about the set that if you have two, you can actually finish the set.
Yeah. Don't you need like, you need three pyramids now? So, like, you have the three pyramid.
No, no, it's literally the set is half a pyramid.
Ah, what? You don't get.
Yeah, you get half the pyramid. You get one side of the pyramid, and then you can put it against the wall, so the backside is flat. And
Ah,
if you have the set
okay.
twice, you can build the full pyramid.
Wow.
So I told them that, and they looked at me and they're like, "Okay, you know what? Just pretend we didn't say that, and when you get the gift, just be really thankful." I'm like, "Okay, okay." Um,
Does it work that way? Does it connect?
yeah,
I'm now
yeah, they actually
Googling it.
connect. Yeah.
It connects the two types of Legos
Hmm.
together because it
Yep.
also comes with the two small pyramids, it turns out.
I don't know about that. Maybe.
Yeah.
All I know is that I remember reading that if you have that set twice, you can build the full pyramid.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at it right now, and that is
Right.
absolutely correct.
Yeah. So that was really exciting, and then I got a whole bunch of flight things for my flying.
Yeah.
I got a new flight bag. I have a beautiful flight bag, but it's getting a little small for some of the more ambitious flying that I'm doing.
Hmm.
It's a flight bag meant for like an hour long flight, or maybe like 2 hours. But
Rami,
I'm now,
for people who are not pilots, can you
Mhm.
explain what a flight bag is?
Yeah, also for you.
Also for me.
Okay. Okay. So a flight bag is it's not that complicated. It's literally just a bag that your flying stuff goes into. And
Okay.
when you see pilots at airports, they usually have one of those little rolling suitcases with them.
Yeah.
That's their flight bag.
Okay.
And then there's different types of flight bags, and the most popular one nowadays is an EFB or an electronic flight bag.
It's the
So
one
it's
that
usually
looks like a trolley laptop bag.
yeah, kind of those. Those are
Yeah.
like very professional flight bags for pilots who do like really professional flying.
Yeah.
Most people have like an over the shoulder or a backpack or like a tiny little thing depending on how you fly, right? Like flight
Mm.
instructors tend to have a tiny flight bag because all they need is their notes
Yeah.
and their headphone. And they're not doing anything weird, they're not going anywhere. They know where they are, where they're going, so they'll have their phone
Yeah.
and their headphone and some papers.
Okay. For your
And then if
iPad as well, I imagine, no?
Yeah, so for me, my iPad is sort of like the center of my flight bag. So I have my iPad, I have my headphone, and then I have a whole bunch of other stuff. I have a calculator, I have my logbook, I have pens, pencils, I have paper maps, I have
Hmm.
a backup like measure equipment so I can measure things, a whole bunch of batteries, a backup radio, a water bottle, GoPro, sunglasses. So my flight bag is a bit more full, right?
Nice.
And then now that I'm doing a bit more ambitious flying, I also want to be able to fly to different countries, and I want to be able to fly over water. But if you go over water, you need a life jacket.
Hmm.
Now, my current flight bag just doesn't have more space.
I see.
So I was looking at a different one, and my family found out and bought that one for me, which was lovely. So I have more space for an extra set of headphones if I want to fly with somebody, or
Hmm.
life jackets if I want to fly over water, or that kind of stuff. So
I'm
it'll be a lot
surprised they
easier.
don't have light jackets inside the airplane. You'd think like it would be fully equipped with that stuff.
Yeah, no, you want airplanes to be as light as possible. So anything that you don't need, you don't bring, and you only need life jackets if you go over water for more than 30 minutes, 15
Hmm.
minutes. If you go for water for more than 15 minutes, you need life jackets.
I see.
So if you don't need them, you don't bring them because it is still a few hundred grams.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, no life jackets you need with you, and then high vis vests, like the little yellow things that like construction workers wear and stuff like that.
Hmm.
A lot of airports require those, so I need space for those. So basically, I just needed a larger flight bag, and now I have a larger flight bag, which is really really cool. Um, and because the flight bag is the same brand, I can actually just pick up the insert that's in my bag, in my current bag, and just move to the other one if I want to do a bit of a larger flight. I don't have to like repack everything. I just pull up the one thing, and then
Hmm.
most of my stuff is across.
And why do you need a dedicated bag and can't just like use one of your backpacks? Like
So
a
you
lot of the
can,
stuff you mentioned sounds like I can put in any bag, really.
yeah, you could, but then flight bags are really built so that you have easy access to the most important things in convenient ways. So they're convenience bags, right? Like
Ah, I
some
see.
people just use an old backpack, right? Or over the shoulder, or a camera bag. Camera bags are pretty popular as flight bags too. Um, my flight
Hmm.
bags are like made to be flight bags, so they have really easy access to your logbook, to your headphone, to where your iPad is, and mostly it means that you save a bit of time in the airplane trying to reach for stuff because everything is just in very logical places,
I see. I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
which is nice. And then
That's super, man. Yeah.
yeah, so I got the flight bag, I got a life jacket, and then I got a fuel finger.
A what?
It's a little plastic tube that you stick in your fuel tank that allows you to measure how much fuel is in there,
Okay.
which is really really useful because you should always check how much fuel you have, right?
Oh yeah.
And then I got this little fuel tester that's just the coolest fuel tester. It's like this little, it's basically a little cup, also tube shaped,
Okay.
but all these small airplanes have drain points.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what they are, they're points where you can, if you press on them, they kind of act like a valve. You press on them, fuel comes out,
Mm-hmm.
and that allows you to see how what the quality of the fuel is. If there's dirt in it, if it's unclear, if it doesn't look right, if it doesn't smell right, and that allows you to test for the fuel at different points of the airport of the airplane. Um, right now, I only use the ones that are in the airplanes. But sometimes when you travel or you're using a strange airplane or an airplane that you haven't flown on, those are not in there.
Hmm.
So now I have my own.
Interesting.
So
How do your friends know all of this?
well, some of them listen to the Habibis where I talk too much about airplanes,
Oh, that's cute.
and some of them, just talk to me, or like some of them called the flight school.
Wow, oh, that's super
Um,
sweet.
so just all sorts of like cute things where they were just like, "Hey, what can we get?" So yeah, it was really cute. It was really lovely. I got lots of amazing gifts, and that was not even the best gift, but the best gift was actually my girlfriend, Julie, agreed to fly with me from Munich, where she lives, all the way to the Netherlands.
That is probably your longest flight to date, no?
It is the longest flight today. Yeah, 5 hours.
Wow.
Uh, and I got to fly it in a Piper 28, which is sort of like the cooler airplane.
So,
Um,
so you were in Munich and then you flew back to the Netherlands together, or did you go back and forth?
I flew to Munich with the Piper and then flew back from Munich with the Piper. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you did a whole round trip even.
Yeah, round trip. And it was cool. It was my first like really long international flight because I've flown like right over the border. There's a cute airfield called Borkum, which is halfway, it's just across the border with Germany. So it's
Hmm.
technically in Germany,
Yeah.
but you don't even file a flight plan that you're going into Germany. You basically, when you go over the border, you land.
Yeah.
Um, So that airport doesn't even like it when you file a flight plan, even though you formally should. They're just like, please don't give us that work. Just
So much paperwork.
yeah, just land the airplane, and just when you take off,
Yeah.
just immediately go back into the Netherlands, and then nobody will care.
Yeah.
Which is true. Literally nobody cares.
Hmm.
Um, but this was like a proper long flight from a real place to a real place, which was exciting. But then my other favorite thing is it is the first time I've picked up a passenger in one place and then
Right.
dropped them off in another place.
Right. Yeah. You technically transported
I
someone.
transported somebody,
Yeah. Wow.
which I've not done before. So far, it's always been I leave from an airport and I land back at that airport with the person. And sometimes, you know, I'd fly them to a place and then we'd be at a place together, but then I'd fly them back.
Huh. And this is the first time Julie, this is not the first time she comes with you on a flight, no?
So, this is a really funny story. Julie was a little nervous about flying.
Hmm.
And a few weeks ago, to prepare for this flight, she agreed to go on a flight with me. But I will say it was probably the bumpiest flight I've ever done.
Okay.
Really bad winds. Um, and we had kind of hoped that it would get better as we got higher, but it kind of
Yeah.
didn't. So
Okay. You were unlucky
after,
that day, or
yeah,
you,
after
yeah.
30 minutes, we just turned around, and she thought it was beautiful, all the views, but it didn't really help ease her anxiety, I think.
Yeah.
But then for my birthday, she really like it was so cute. She really mustered all of her courage, and like I
Yeah.
flew her over Munich, flew her over some like places that she knows, and like some landmarks that she enjoys. Um, basically, it was just like after 30 minutes in this like beautiful October weather, could not have asked for better weather. All the oranges and greens and colors and everything. She was calm, and she
Uh-huh.
even helped me like fuel the airplane, and like she helped me with at some point. This is really cool. People don't know this, but airplanes are not that heavy.
Yeah.
So at some point, she pushed the airplane to its parking position.
Oh, nice.
Just bare hands, just pushed the entire plane into position. And by the end, she really enjoyed it. I think it's not a thing that we're gonna do like every week.
Yeah.
She's not into it that much, but she really enjoyed the experience. She thought it was very special, and that was obviously very. It was very lovely for me to be able to combine two things that I love. I guess is
Yeah,
that the right way to say it?
that's very
um,
cute actually. That
yeah,
she got over the fear just
yeah, yeah.
to get on a flight with you.
So yeah, it was really, really lovely. By the end of it, she was picking up on like radio cues, and like she's a super smart person, so she was picking up on like radio things, and like point is she saw some airplanes faster than I saw them. Like it was really cool. So it was really lovely getting to do a flight like that. Took one stop somewhere in the middle in like this beautiful valley airport.
Oh yeah, you stopped along the way.
Yeah, yeah, one place, get in the house, and it was like those small airplanes. They don't have toilets or facilities,
Oh
so
yeah, of course.
yeah, if you want to stop, you just got to find an airplane to go to the restroom or
Oh,
have some
that's
food.
such a weird thing. I never thought about that. But
Right.
yeah, you're right. You gotta, like, I gotta go, Rami. You're like, okay, let me find an airfield.
Yeah, let me find the nearest airport where I can land, and then just land there.
So the stop is not something you pre-plan in
No,
advance.
in this case, I had planned it, and I just sort of said when we started, like, okay, it's going to be 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes to the first,
Yeah,
then 2 hours and 15 minutes onward. So it was right in the middle, and I had sort of like, but like, if at any point there was an emergency or there was a reason to land earlier, you could do an unplanned stop.
yeah,
The
yeah,
only time you can't do it is when you're on that leg on that route that you're flying, you cross a border
yeah.
because then you have a flight plan and you have to keep to the flight plan basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you fall too far behind, they send search and rescue.
Oh, okay.
So then the helicopters get launched to find your airplane.
Wow. Okay.
So when you file a flight plan, you have to keep to the flight plan, and if you want to get off the flight plan, you have to basically call the radio and let them know like, hey, we're diverting from this flight plan and we're changing our route and cancel the flight plan.
That'd be like a very embarrassing phone call to make. Hey,
Right.
tower, I really need to go.
Right.
So
Luckily, you don't really have to explain. All you have to say is divert.
I don't need to
But
give them the reason. That's cool.
right, yeah. So yeah,
But
no, it was really lovely. It was Fauzi. Like I can't. When you plan a flight for end of October and you want the airplane for multiple days, you plan it far in advance,
yeah,
and you don't know what the weather is going to be. And
yeah,
I do not think I could have hoped for better weather than this. Like it was beautiful. It was calm, slightly cloudy, but like the nice puffy clouds, beautiful sunsets, a little bit of rain here and there, some rainbows around along the route,
yeah. Well,
low fog over the mountains.
this
Like
was probably one of the warmest Octobers I've ever experienced in Europe. To be honest.
we're all gonna die, but it was a beautiful flight.
For that flight, it was
Yeah,
good.
yeah. For the purpose of this flight, this was great.
There's some silver lining,
Yeah, yeah.
but I like it was like it got up like it was still two digits here in Sweden.
Right. Yeah.
It was two digits yesterday, and
It's
we're in
about to get
November.
colder now, right?
Yeah, it should like,
Right.
but like usually this starts in mid September. You know, it
Right.
gets cold.
Yeah.
But it was in 20 degrees in south of Europe still.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
it's
it's warm.
wild.
It's really warm. I mean, I didn't have too much time to play video games, obviously, because I've been traveling. I've played some on my mobile phone.
Oh yeah. Uh,
Played Marvel Snap.
oh my god, have I played this game?
I saw that you have played it way more than me, so I actually would love to know what you think of
Man, I've played so much. This game completely caught me by surprise.
it.
I was like, I'm gonna be waiting for this thing for 5 minutes. I'll just check out this game that I heard my friend talking about. And then next thing I know, it was Friday night, and I had plans. I canceled the plans, and I'm just playing it on Steam because it's also cross-platform. So I, put it on Steam. I'm playing it and listening to music for like 4.5 hours straight.
Right.
By the end of the weekend, I have bought the premium Game Pass. I have spent around 15 hours in this game, and I am now upper gold in tier, which is not amazing, but but still, like growing steadily.
Right.
Man, this game is yeah is so like I don't like to use this word, but it's like it really sucks you in, like
Yeah.
and you just go like, I'm gonna play one more round, and next thing you know, an hour has passed, 2 hours has passed. It's great. By Sunday, I pretty much finished everything, all the content that the game had to offer, and there was literally a counter that's saying, "Wait 2 days before we give you more."
Right.
And I think in a couple of hours they will drop some more quests and stuff, so I can go back in and collect some of my Game Pass
It
points.
is time.
All right. So I guess I need to explain what this game is
Yes.
for people listening. So if you played Hearthstone, it is a similar thing. This is a collectible card game that is set out in the Marvel universe. And what I like to I like one way to describe it, if you played collectible card games, it's Hearthstone meets Artifact. You know that weird Valve Dota card game, super slimmed down and
Right.
simplified. Um, so like the part that it resembles Artifact is that when you start the round, there are three separate areas you can play cards on, and each one of those areas have a completely random event that dictates the state of the game that get revealed progressively throughout the match. Each match is exactly 6 rounds in which two players take turns in placing their cards on one of those three areas. Each card has a cost to play, and each card has a power. Once a card is played on an area, that power is added to the total power of the area. The area with the most power, the player, so the highest number of power in that area for the player wins, and you need to win 2 areas to win the match.
Two out of
That's
three, basically.
two
Yeah.
out of three. You gotta win 2 areas out of three in the match by putting as many powerful cards as you can. Um, and what I like about there's so many design decisions that makes it so that like the game can never like really outstay its welcome. It is
Yep.
6 rounds. For some special cases, it might be seven, but it's it's never more than that. Every area has a maximum of 4 cards that you can play,
Right.
or like 4 spots. There are cards that take away cards or put away cards. You know the drill. But like there's 4 slots in which you can place those cards in. And there's enough randomization, like there's randomness in those three areas, there's randomization elements in the cards, that you cannot have a dominant deck. You can have a very powerful deck that you construct, but there isn't one that will always win.
Right.
And as new cards get introduced, they radically change the meta. Yet, there isn't no prevailing meta. How you combine these cards together really it changes how it works. But also your play style really also changes the way the match outcome comes out of it. And what I also like is that because of how those cards are built, there's an element of anticipation as well to what the others will play. So there's
Mm-hmm.
baiting, there's mind games, there's you do something to trick the player into doing something else. You set traps. There's a lot of mind games going with a player that you don't even see.
Right.
And ultimately, this feature that they add is that regularly, every time if you play a match, you win 2 XP. However, a player can snap. That means that they are now confident of their win and they can snap only once in the round, doubling the XP. So now, if they win, they get 4 XP. If the other player responds by snapping back, then that doubles the XP again. So the amount of XP gets up to 8 points that you can either win or lose. And winning that point basically what determines your MMR. How fast you climb up or down the scale. That's how you move from bronze to silver to gold to platinum to whatever. And that just adds to the mind game part of it. Like, you're playing like, all right, I got everything set up, then the other player snaps. And I'm like, oh, does that mean they're holding a card that they know that they're gonna win them the round? Or are they bluffing?
Yep. Yep. Using it to bluff is really fun. It's just so many mind games.
Yes.
It's so many mind games.
Yeah. You're constructing the deck. You are there is no winning formula, so you can look up decks online. It might work for you, but it might not.
Right.
There's enough randomness to like even if you think that you're losing 100%, something could happen
Yeah.
and allow you to win last second.
Right. The
And
locations
the locations,
really change what happens.
some of the cards, like you put a card and it will say adds 2 power to 3 random cards.
Right.
Then you don't know, like
Yep.
or like there's a card you place and it like summons a 7 power monster somewhere
Right.
else.
Yep.
So it could land exactly where you want it to land, or it could go somewhere else and screw
Right.
everything for you entirely.
Yep. Yeah, you can already like gamble for those places before they reveal locations, and like there's just so much you can do. There's so many weird strategies you can
Yeah,
pick.
yeah. And the game is very light on social features. Like currently, like I can't play against a friend or like
Yeah.
have a clan or anything like that, which I think those will come for sure. But I already like have a bunch of WhatsApp groups with people, and we're like, try out this deck, try out my deck, or like look at
Right.
my level, or like people posting on Twitter asking about what's their current level, how they like in the game. So there's already like a social activity around the game outside of the game's core features, which for me signals very high engagement.
I mean, incredibly high. People are talking about this game nonstop. It's everywhere. At least in game design circles. I don't know
Yeah,
about elsewhere, but even if this game, and I think it did, but even if this game didn't capture like gamers' hearts, it's still like every game designer I know has at least played it a bit.
I really, really enjoy it. And like,
Yeah.
like every time like I'm looking at this, like that's a very clever design decision. Even
Yep.
like the thematic elements. So like, everything I described and you're like, oh wait, what's the Marvel part of this?
Right.
And like, the cards are Marvel characters. And there's so many of them, of course. And you can
Right.
like make the cards pretty and make them 3D and make them animate and
Right.
like all kinds of ways to like make your cars really stand out, and you spend currencies on like uh
Frame
beautify
breaks and
beautifying them, and
yeah.
yeah, with frame breaks, 3D and
Yeah.
sparkles and whatever.
Yeah.
And you beautifying the cards is actually your measurement of progress,
Yep.
because the more you beautify cards, the more you unlock more cards,
Yep.
which is also genius.
So basically, making the cosmetics not just part of the making it pretty, but it's literally part of your progression.
Part of your progression, but still it does not inhibit gameplay, it
Nope.
doesn't give power.
No, it just is a measure of your progress.
Yes, and that's so smart. And then
It's good.
like
It's really good.
how the cards behave are right on theme.
Yeah.
So like a Spider-Man card will one of them at least will have a Spider-Man tingling sensation. So when a card moves on deck, Spider-Man cost becomes cheaper because spider senses are tingling.
Yeah. I like the Sentinel
Oh,
for that
Sentinel,
reason.
for example, yeah,
Sentinel's great.
they
Just
replicate themselves every
yep.
time you play one.
Yep. If you play one when it gets revealed to the other player, you get a new Sentinel card. And it's
Yeah,
a cheap card.
yeah.
It's not a very powerful card, but
It's part of every deck I've used so far.
right, but it's a really useful card.
Yeah, super
Uh,
useful.
when you realize that what you need is numbers, not
Yeah,
power.
yeah.
Yeah, really clever, and still
Wolverine is
some
not destructible, for example. It's a very
yeah,
cool thing.
so good, so clever, just so clever. It's the kind of game where you like you said, Fuzzy, you play for like 10 minutes, and then like 3 hours later, you're like, wow, those were good 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then you look at the clock.
And it's on daylight saving.
Yeah,
And so I've actually played for 4, not for 3.
yeah. I played for 1 hour. I started at 2 a.m. and then I ended at 2 a.m. That's some daylight savings right there. No,
No,
really good,
it's
really good.
it's it's super. Like this game definitely climbed up very high on my games this year. And
Wait, right? Just out of nowhere
out
too.
of nowhere, I did not expect that. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna check out this thing." This is like not by any stretch of the imagination the first Marvel mobile game, not even the first Marvel card game. So like I went in like with huge skepticism. I was like, if this game disappoints me in 20 seconds, I'm out.
Yeah,
And like, yeah,
here
it
we are.
and here
A
we
week
are.
later.
Here we are. I'm now like talking to other people, asking for help.
Yep.
Delete this from my phone,
Yeah,
please.
please. Yeah. No, it's really good. Um yeah, that was mostly what I played. I mean, when I got home, I played some more Destiny.
Uh huh.
I've finally
Anything new
given in.
happening in Destiny now?
I've finally given in to the crafting mechanic
Okay.
because they have a really bad. Okay, so Destiny is a live service game, right?
It
So
is.
you remember this, right? From a design perspective,
Mm-hmm.
it's a live service game, so they need people to put hours in,
Yeah.
right? That's important.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a large part of how they keep people playing is through the fact that guns roll with random rolls.
Okay.
So when you get a weapon, it might be exactly the perk combination you want, or it might be a good perk, or it might be both good perks, or they might be a god roll where it's like the best two perks for PVE or the best two perks for PvP, or just something that really fits your character playstyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you put the hours in. You want the best of everything, and then every now and then there's a new version or newer weapons, and then every season you might look at a new weapon that comes out and go like, "Oh my god, actually I want that one."
Yeah.
And now you're back on the grind, right?
That's
Um,
clever.
it's clever. It came with its own issues. Obviously, you've got the power curve, so every time somebody has something, you have to make sure that there's better stuff coming in,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise people would just keep playing with the same gun, right?
Yeah. Of
So
course.
then there's no grind anymore. So
Yeah.
they had the normal problems with that, and then at some point, because people were getting frustrated with that system, they decided to introduce crafting. And
Yeah.
the way the crafting system works is you get a weapon, and Destiny's fantasy had always been that you should be proud of the gear that you get, right? You should be
Mm.
proud of the gear that you use. Um, but it never really was that way because it always felt a bit throwaway. Your exotics that sort of define your playstyle, like the most powerful weapons, you can only carry one. Those would often be very defining. So for me, the Telesto, which is my main weapon, I've used that for 7 years straight at this point, right?
Wow.
It's my gun to the point that I have a handmade painting in my living room of that weapon
Oh my God. Wow.
that somebody made, and I wanted the original, and I bought the original from them just because I love that weapon. That's been 7 years of my life at this point.
Wow.
Um, but they introduced crafting, and they said, okay, we want crafting to. If you have a crafted weapon, we want you to be able to level it up to make it more powerful. And then every time you look at it, it has the date that you got it. It has the level. It has all the perks that you selected.
Yeah.
But obviously, now you have a conflict, because if you can make the gun exactly the way you want it, you're out of the grind.
Mm-hmm.
So they preempted that by making craftable weapons a grind.
I see.
So to even get a weapon for crafting purposes, you need to collect the pattern, which involves you getting a rare version of that weapon X amount of times,
Mm-hmm.
so that you learn how to craft it. And I looked at that and I'm like, nope, nope, just not, absolutely not doing that. I'll just work with the weapons I have and I'm good. And then the other day, Destiny's sort of like in a lull right now between two like expand two seasons, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like the catch up time. And I was like, you know what? I have this one weapon where I think a crafted version would actually be better. I'll try for it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is week 4, and I'm 4/5 in.
Wow.
So I think I need to play another week before I get it. And like part of it is RNG, and there's one way to ensure it, but the only way to ensure it is only once a week.
Okay.
So I've just been grinding for that weapon, and it's been rough. I've also found a little crew of people that play Destiny, but never found people to raid with.
Yeah.
So now every week we do a raid. I think last time I talked about the raid that we did. We did a new raid this way, and they're just Bungie is so good at raid design. Like
Yeah. That's like the highlight moment, it seems, every time there's a drop.
absolutely just super good design. Like to the point where I feel like if you're doing action game design, if you're missing out on the Destiny raids, you're really missing out on some of the cleverest game design in action
Mm-hmm.
games right now. Like just staggeringly good. Um, so yeah, a bunch of Destiny. I ordered my new Joy-Con so I can finally play Mario and Rabbids.
Ah, nice.
It's underway. It's not
Ah,
here
cool.
yet,
A new
but I'm very
white one.
excited. The white one.
Nice.
And then I played the opening few hours of the new Call of Duty,
Ah, the campaign.
the campaign. Yeah, I only play campaign.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um,
How do you think it? I haven't played it yet. I've seen the graphics. It looks stunning.
it is beautiful. Like You know what, Fauzi? It is exactly what you expect. It is beautiful. It is bombastic. It's
Yeah,
supremely well acted.
yeah,
Um, I will say the level design is not the strongest one they did, but it's completely serviceable. Like it's genuinely pretty good.
yeah,
Um, there's a bunch of like like Call of Duty. Much of it is about being a roller coaster where you are in wildly different places doing wildly different things.
yeah,
So you've got the sniper mission, you've got the sneaking mission, you've got the like storm a building mission, you've got the figure it out yourself mission, you've got the like cave mission. Like there's just everything is happening, right?
yeah.
Um, there's a mission in Amsterdam which I thought was really cool.
Oh, that's nice. Very familiar ground.
Very well done.
Yeah,
Like I had to laugh though because a few days before the launch of the campaign, or a few days before I played it, I don't remember when the campaign came out. I saw a video of somebody posting, like a video from that, and it looks photorealistic, right? Like it looks entirely like you could believe that that was a video, except for one thing:
yeah,
no bicycles. They're parked, but nobody's biking.
yeah.
And it
That's
makes sense because dealing with bike physics
yeah,
would be really hard.
yeah. Bike AI is gonna be a pain.
How are
Why
you going to
do it?
bike it? What if
Yeah,
somebody? What if you get run into by a bike? You can't you can't die because somebody hit you with a bike. That's not
yeah,
quite realistic.
yeah.
But also, the people have to swerve and like maybe like accidentally end up in the canal, and like there's just a whole bunch of stuff you would have to think about.
Yeah, I mean,
So
like
I looked at
they already have the system for crowds, but like
right,
having like fast moving bikes over there and bike
exactly.
lanes that people need to avoid, and like AI biking,
So
people to bike realistically and to have a bike go around the corner, for example, requires locomotion systems that are very different than
right.
a person moving.
So it just made me laugh. I looked at it. I'm like, that's not real. And it was like I couldn't. It took me a few seconds to realize why, but it was not the light. The light is beautiful. It was not the architecture. The architecture is beautiful. The place actually exists, and it looks really, really similar.
Yeah,
But there's no bicyclists, and that's just not realistic.
that's so
Um,
funny.
but yeah, gameplay is good. But as you would expect, like all the usual like caveats for Call of Duty apply. So
Mm,
lots of killing people, but not Western people.
yeah,
But like South American people, those are okay to kill. Arabs, those are okay to kill. Middle Eastern people, okay. Russians, seems like we're going that way in the story.
mm,
Um, yeah, lots of talk about rules of engagement, and then going like, but we can't stick to the rules of engagement. We have to stop the war criminals while you become war criminals.
oh,
So
that's a shame because in the 2019 Modern Warfare, they had got better at allying with Arab-like characters and like
right, yeah,
having
you had
them be part
Farah.
of the story. Exactly, there was like an Arab protagonist.
Right. She sort of reappears in this game, but you I even with Farah back in Modern Warfare, I couldn't get over the feeling that she was sort of like set as like the only trustworthy one.
Oh yeah, yeah, fair.
All the other ones were bad, and she was good because she trusted us, the heroic Western people.
Yeah.
So it's falling into all of those same traps, and it's disheartening. But at the same time, the game is good.
Hmm.
Um, So we just keep hoping. I think that
It
one
sounds
day
like a Call of Duty.
it is 100% a Call of Duty. It's bombastic. It's beautiful. It is absolutely people working at the top of the curve of the games industry.
Hmm.
Um, I just wish they made something a little less problematic. I guess.
Yeah,
Then again, they're really making action movies, so I just wish they went a bit more in the direction of Top Gun Maverick.
yeah,
But it's like it's a war movie. It's a little USA, but at the same time, we're not really. It's not even clear who we're fighting. They're bad
yeah,
guys, kind of undefined. I like that. But
yeah.
yeah,
Maverick is very actually a very interesting thing if that influences
Would be
action
so
movie
good.
direction going forward, because that came out like probably during this game's production. It was
Right.
impossible for them to influence it in that way.
Yeah.
But
No, they did. Call of Duty did the thing that Osama always calls Arabistan.
Arabistan,
So they
I
came up with
love
a
that
new
name.
country. It's called Al Masra in this
Okay,
case, and yeah, it's near Iran. It sounds like,
yeah.
and it's where all the bad people live.
Why is it always in Arab countries with all the bad people?
No idea. It was actually funny. I got interviewed by a Dutch newspaper about the game because they had the opportunity to talk to the leadership of the game, right? Creative director and everything.
Ah, cool.
And they the creative direction team really talked about, like, like we made sure that it's not a real place, and that, like, it's only vaguely, like, sort of like Arabic. And I was like, but that just means it's all of us,
Yeah.
right? Like, that doesn't make it, but that makes it worse. Like, that means, like, you're just like, okay, so it's not like a specific Arab place, it's just kind of like an Arabic place.
What did they respond?
So they were shocked by
Yeah.
that. I was like,
Mm.
I don't think you were.
Uh,
I'm pretty sure your diversity consultants already told you that.
mm.
But it was easier than getting in the weeds with, like, trying to call it any real name, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but that's a very good point. Like
Right.
by generalizing it, you make
You
it like
generalize it.
you make
Yeah.
it one of those people. You
Yep.
know.
And they do all this thing where the enemy army, the terrorist faction that you're fighting, it abbreviates to AQ.
Mhm.
And I'm like, definitely not making a reference here. Clearly not. Um,
Yeah.
so stuff like that where you're like, shame. But, I'm just going through the roller coaster. I always like the Call of Duty roller coaster, so
Mm.
I'll go through it. And if
Yeah.
it gets too bad, I'll hop out. But there's a bunch of moments that really made me go like, oh, come on.
Yeah. What I like about the COD games is the spectacle, right? Like
Hmm.
the campaign is always like a tech marvel
Yep.
to see. Set piece, masterpiece, and pacing is like the tension, the intensity, all of that stuff is yeah, incredible. I really enjoyed the 2019
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
I would say it's not as good
campaign.
as that, but it's
Ah,
close.
okay. Okay, that's good. I
Mhm.
need to pick that up once I
Yeah.
stop playing Marvel Snap.
And are you still playing Xenoblades?
Yes, yes. So like that's at least I'm still playing that game while I'm waiting for Marvel Snap quest to reappear. Yeah. So now I think I'm 14 hours in
Hmm.
on Xenoblade, and every time I think like, okay, I've seen all the systems. We spoke about it in our last episode, I think.
Right.
Every time I think like, okay, now I think I saw all the mechanics. There's more mechanics, and
Right.
like I think I've seen all the systems. There's more systems. So like
Right.
at first I thought like all of the characters I have there assigned their own classes,
Right.
and the classes have a different name in this game. I forgot what it is now. Or
Right.
just in my mind as classes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then at some point in the game, a cutscene happens and people like change outfits. I was like, what is happening?
Right.
And now you actually can swap classes.
Hmm.
But you can't swap classes with anybody. So only with as one class, you have one or two other classes that you can
Yep.
also specialize in,
Hmm.
and then you level up both classes, and they inherit
Stuff from their original class.
exactly. They inherit stuff. You inherit abilities. You inherit skills.
Right.
So like now it's like dawning on me the amount of grinding that is ahead of me.
Right. So this you're still before the point where I stopped.
Okay.
So that's why I was so careful last time when we talked about it, because when you said, like, oh yeah, no, dude, like, I'm here and here, I was
Yeah.
like, that could be like 11 different parts in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you now have the class sort of inheritance system, then you're a few hours out from where I went like, wow. Anyway, um,
Yeah.
I'm curious what you'll think.
It's a lot happening, and for me to keep it in my mind all the time is it's been an interesting struggle to kind of
Yeah,
keep in all the systems because the menus start to be deceptively simple.
yeah,
But I think that's also part of the clever design because there are
yeah,
literally options that that were didn't even appear
yeah.
before you unlock that mechanic and
Hmm.
you play the tutorial, and now you can access that system. So like the game does a good job at easing you into it across hours. So like
Right.
you're like 14 hours by the time you see this stuff. It's quite impressive. But yeah, it's a long game. It's clear to me now at this point that I go like, okay, so this is happening. These are the characters,
The-
the systems, and there's probably gonna be, I don't know, 8 other systems like this.
there's a few more. There's a few more big ones
Yeah,
before I tuned out.
yeah.
So
So now I'm thinking this is probably a 120-hour game at least.
I would guess so.
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder how much I'm gonna stick to it, considering there's so many other games coming out, and for me to
It's
commit 120 hours to a game is a tall order.
and the problem with Xenoblade that I've noticed is I bounced off it, and a few weeks ago I was like, I'll play a little bit more, and then I didn't remember anything.
Yeah,
I was like,
I'm st-
attack.
I'm struggling with the story.
Hmm.
Like there's like high points that when they happen, I'm like, whoa, I'm super invested, and
Yeah,
then there's a lot of lull in between.
yeah, yeah. That was exactly what happened to me. So basically, the thing that happened to me was the same thing that happened to me with The Witcher 3.
Mm,
There was such a high point, and
hmm.
then it immediately went into a lull, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
It was like there's an incredible moment, and I was like, wow, this is super cool.
Mm,
And I'm so in, and I want to know where this goes, and like like the stakes are going up, and like I'm just
yeah.
like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then it's like, so anyway, now we're gonna cross this desert for the next 20 hours, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm in the desert now. I crossed halfway through the desert,
right,
and
well
and
that's why I
uh,
use that example because I know where you are. So it's like
yeah,
let's use the place that you're in right now.
yeah, fair. Because like that, like when that happened, I was like, something super cool just happened,
Yeah,
and now I'm probably 2 to 3 hours away from another cool thing happening again.
yeah, yeah. That's exactly what happened to me. And then it was such a cool moment that right after that, it going to like, yeah. Anyway, next one in a few hours. That I was just like, yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
the thing that I like, maybe there's gonna be more mechanics later on to make it a bit differently, but so far what I'm noticing is that the the difference between the enemies has only been stats.
Hmm.
So like if I'm attacking a little onion creature or a giant dinosaur creature, other than their stats, like it's not affecting how I'm playing the game.
No, exact same strategy, right? Like depending on
Yeah,
the class you're playing, get to a specific spot.
yeah, and then wait, and
Yep,
then cooldown management, press
yep,
the buttons.
yep.
So that's kind of relaxing in a way, but at the same time, like I want more. Like
Right.
like the different enemies need to have different like why are they different, like there needs to be an answer to this question.
Until the point where I got,
Yeah.
I didn't see any differences.
Hmm. Interesting.
Sometimes boss fights,
Yeah.
right? Where it's just like, oh, this boss, you kind of want to do that, or you want to avoid doing this, but like,
Yeah.
it was never like, don't do this, or like, approach it this way. It was just like, okay,
Yeah.
approach it the way you usually approach it. It's just
Yeah.
this guy has a lot of attack, so
Yeah, be
be a little
careful.
more careful.
And that's the thing, like if you attack an enemy that is a bit over your level, doesn't like there is no skill involved,
No,
like you will get wiped.
yeah,
So
or you will very slowly get it,
yeah.
right?
So like, depending on like how many numbers they out level you. So ultimately, like this is a spreadsheet game,
Yeah.
which
And the
is
other thing I
something I
noticed,
don't mind a lot, but I think it needs a little bit more, which I think it might unlock later on.
the other thing I noticed is that there's a very small difference between you can win this and you're absolutely just not never gonna win it,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes a battle is like you're like, okay, yeah, I can do this, and then like 5 minutes later you win,
yeah,
and all you have to do is not really mess up, right? You
Yeah.
just keep going the pattern.
Land
Now it's
those
a heal.
combos. Land
Yeah,
those
land the
combos.
combo, do the heal. Like do that.
Yeah.
Um, while when a battle is going poorly, like your first person, basically when your first person dies, it's done.
Yeah.
You just start running away. Somebody goes down, y'all love it. Let's go.
Yeah.
As
You
Masalam,
can
Assalamu
try to
alaikum, bye
you can
bye.
try to revive them, but at that point you'll be like, nah, nah, this is not
Well, the
going well.
person that dies usually is your defender.
Yeah.
So they're the one that tanks the damage. So if they're no longer tanking the damage, your
Yeah.
healer is going to go down in a second, then your attacker is going to go down in a second, and then
This is precisely why I play tank.
right.
I
But then
always play the tank so that I make sure that I am controlling the pace of the battle.
right. Yep.
But because the other stuff are AoE, so
Yep.
like, and the DPS guy are dealing the DPS. So I am the most central figure of this
Right.
combat, so I cannot rely on the AI for
That's
this.
fair. That's fair. But I think that like that is the right way to play.
Hmm.
Which all the other options are cool, but they're not useful.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
and
can play the attacker.
yeah, and that's the different mentality, right, between this game and Snap, because there is no prominent strategy. So like once there's
Yeah.
a prominent strategy, my mind goes numb a bit, and like I'm in
Yeah.
this grind fest.
And Xenoblade, honestly, it was a really chill grind fest.
Very
It
chill.
just,
It's the
I
best.
think my biggest problem with Xenoblade is that it had too high highs.
Hmm.
I think if that game chilled out a little bit on how awesome the story was at times,
Yeah.
that I would still be playing it. But it is that really high and then going back to like, okay, let's do the same thing for like 3 more hours.
Well, if Xenoblade X is any measurement to go, Xenoblade X, like the first 30 hours was okay,
Yeah.
and then you get the mech,
Yeah.
and then it's like fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's following a similar trajectory, at least this one is kind of hinting at stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then like your patience is going to be rewarded. But at the same time, I'm refusing to read about this
Right. I ran
because
out
I
of
don't want to
patience.
spoil it. Yeah, you
But
read.
if you get to the point where you're like, okay, Rami, listen, you got to keep playing.
Yeah.
Okay, خلاص, I'll keep playing. But
Okay. I'll let you know. I'll let you know
okay,
if I
okay,
stick to it and if I get to that point. But yeah, it's tough considering that we're nearing end of the year and there's so
Mhm.
many games
God of
coming
War is
out.
happening soon.
God of War happening soon. COD I want to play.
Yep.
Overwatch 2 I haven't played that
Hmm.
much of.
I'm not gonna play Overwatch 2. I'm just gonna let Osama handle that.
Yeah. A Plague
I'm
Tale I want to play. It's on Game Pass.
Yep.
There's
Here
this
was our
other
obligatory
game.
Game Pass mention. Microsoft, please sponsor us.
Yeah, that's Osama. So there's a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff I want to play.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good stuff. I did play one other game real
Ah,
quick.
okay.
Drop Mix.
Drop Mix.
It's an old game.
Where did you play that?
On my couch.
I mean, which device?
There is no device. It's its own device.
Okay.
So Drop Mix is Harmonix, who did Rock Band and all those games, made a collectible card game
Oh, that Drop Mix.
called
Wow,
Drop
that was
Mix.
a while ago.
And the game died a very sad death. But I
Okay.
own it because I remember one time I was visiting Harmonix and they showed me a very early prototype, and just the tech was mind blowing to me because it's a card game where you play cards onto this electronic board.
Hmm.
There's 5 spots. Those 5 spots have different colors, and those colors indicate what kind of cards you can play. So the yellow spot is for vocals.
Hmm.
So you can play vocals on it, and then the green or the blue is for like percussion, drums, rhythm. The red is for melody. And you basically play cards to those respective colors, and then there's a bunch of strategy, and you use your phone as sort of the screen for the game.
Wow.
But the board is this device,
Hmm.
the drop mix board. And the thing that got me about it is these cards obviously use some sort of NFC
Yeah.
technology, right? The thing is, what I did not know is that you can do that. You can use NFC, but then also use it through 20 cards.
Hmm.
So you play cards on top of each other,
Uh-huh.
but the deck always knows which card is on the top.
Interesting.
I still don't know how they did it.
Hmm.
But I remember seeing an early prototype and just being, this is so cool. So when it came out, I immediately bought it. And I recently picked it out of my cabinet and played it again. And it is so good. And Julie is a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And she played it and she's like, how even like the music brain stuff that went into this game is ridiculous. It like changes key, it changes tempo, it like makes sure that everything fits. And yeah, it was really nice to play that with somebody with a music brain,
Yeah.
because I already enjoyed the game, but now also just like it's so clear that they did both technological wizardry as well as music wizardry. So I went on eBay and I bought all the cards I could find.
They're harder to find now.
Yeah, the game didn't do well. It was hard to buy the board, and then it was hard to buy the cards, and then it didn't do well.
They really went all out on those peripheral strategy.
I mean, I still have the Harmonix Rock Band drum set,
Yeah, those are good
and the
times.
guitars and the microphone, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good.
Those were good times.
I
So
kind
now
of miss those times.
we in the Middle East we used to have like PlayStation areas where you like
Yeah.
you can sit there, smoke shisha, play FIFA.
Hmm.
And those shops, they each started to install like a noise canceling room, and they had a Guitar Hero and a Rock
Right.
Band setup.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So you can like go in there, get some drinks, and yeah,
People
just
get really good at those games,
oh my god, yes,
right?
oh my god. I used to play drums, so I really enjoyed
Same.
that.
I
The,
played the drums too.
and the thing is, because in real life I'm a guitarist, I hate the plastic guitars.
Yeah.
Like it's so counterintuitive to me. I
Yep.
can never do it.
Hmm.
But the
I can
drums,
imagine. Like the drums kind of play like drums,
yeah,
especially if you set them to the higher levels. Like you actually got to hit your rhythms.
totally,
Yep. Yeah, it's
totally.
good. Anyway,
I
so
played so much of like Guitar Hero 2 and the first Rock Band, I reckon.
yeah, 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 it's good stuff. I still pull them out once a year for my New Year's party.
Oh, nice.
Always Rock Band party. It's just
Nice,
good.
man.
It's a good party. It's a good party. Makes for a
Yeah.
good party.
We should play the drop mix as well in that party
Yeah.
then.
Yep.
Because
Good.
I'm now very curious of trying it out.
Yeah, no, I have it here. Like when you're here, I will have 100 new cards when you get here, so we can
Oh,
play.
nice.
We can make lots of music. You can also freestyle, so you can just play it on the deck.
Ooh,
That's
I
really
love that.
fun.
I love that. If
Yeah.
only we can get Osama to sing with that as well, that'll be great.
Speaking of, thank you for everybody who emailed to compliment Osama on his singing.
People wrote about that, huh?
Yeah. I have one, for example, here from Ian, who emailed just a very short message. I'm complimenting Osama's singing of the final countdown. Shukran, Habibi. Shukran, Ian, for the kind words. No, Osama isn't here, but he would be very grateful for your message. If people really liked it, let us know via email, and we can see if we can install a weekly Osama karaoke part.
I would like that very much.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of discussion about it on Twitter and the Discord, so it seems like he struck a chord with people.
So if you all just want more of that, let us know via email, info@thehabibis.com, or on our Discord, discord.thehabibis.com, and we'll make sure Osama sings some more.
Yeah.
If he wants to, obviously. If he wants to.
I'm going to ask him nicely anyway.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. It's time to put a doily in this one, I reckon.
Yallah.
Yeah. So for everybody listening, thank you for joining us on another episode of The Habibis. Write us at info@thehabibis.com. Join us at the Discord at discord.thehabibis.com. And we'll be here same time, same place, inshallah, next week. For the time being, salam.
Salam.
That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I am Fawzi Masmar, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at Fawzi Masmar. My fellow Habibis were Osama Dorias, who you can find on Twitter at Osama Dorias, and Rami Ismail, who you can find on Twitter at THA_Rami. Send us your questions, stories, and suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. Intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubayla, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe to your favorite podcasting service or check out thehabibis.com for more information. Thank you for listening. Salam.